Hey everybody, long time no see. I've been really busy with work recently and just life in general. So I haven't had a lot of time to make new videos. I was meaning to make something for the new Houdini 20.5 release. But yeah, just could not find the time. And as a matter of fact, right now, I still don't have the time. But I really did want to kind of, get some of this stuff out there. I have been messing with it quite a bit, and they've made a lot of new fixes and features that make things much easier and much more flexible. Actually, it's actually a pretty nice rigging solution. There's still some issues. I think we're going to go over those today. But this video is going to be a little bit different from my other ones. I'm not really planning on going in and editing it and adding all these like little flashy stuff that I typically do. I'm just going to, go from scratch and just build out a rig. I don't know. We'll see how far we can go. My plan is to try to create a whole rig. We're not going to rig the face or anything, but I want to go over the more important new auto rig components. And just kind of show, how I go about rigging in this program with Apex. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, let's see. So I'm going to start with the leg here. And I'm going to go to my transform and just, press E. So now that I can mess with my leg or the skeleton over here and start drawing out some joints. So I'm going to hit spacebar and press 2. Now I'm going to hit 3. So now I'm in front. Actually, no, let's go to the side. Spacebar 4. All right, let me see. I want to enter into create mode by pressing F. And I'm just going to draw out some points. Boom. Okay. All right, and just to jump around on the I jump around a lot like this. If you hold down the space bar and hit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's the UV view. You can jump around a bit. Okay, so I'm going to jump to the front now. I'm going to hit F, which goes into modify mode, and then I'm going to hit G, which goes into tweak mode. So if I hold down shift, I'm going to grab this. Now, typically, if you hold down shift, it moves everything, or rather, it just moves one joint. But right now, for some reason, it's moving all my joints. I don't really know why. Okay, so let's do that. Just kind of place these things. All right, so I'm going to go back to F. I'm going to turn tweak mode off because now I'm going to select these and start naming these. So this is going to be R hip, R knee, R ankle, R foot underscore ball, and R toe. Cool. All right, so now now that I have that, I want to orient these, right? So if I put down an orient joints, and I want to use the Y as the up vector, I get something like this. And this is actually looking pretty good. Cool. That's nice. Yeah, when I did this before, it came out all a little bit janky, but yeah, right now it looks pretty good. Okay, cool. So no fixes there. And let's go ahead and do a skeleton mirror. And you'll see. So basically the way we're going to do this is we're just going to build up our rig component by component. And it's just a really nice way of working. I really enjoy this. So we're going to want to look for the R, right? The R token, and then change it to the L. I'm going to drop down a null, and now I have R and L. So now I have all those joints. Very nice. Okay. So let's go ahead I'm going to make a couple more nulls. And let's just pretend that this is our final skeleton down here. Call this scale, and then we'll call this guides. Okay. Let's go ahead and pack this. And this will be base scale, and then guides scale. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna wait until the end to do the skinning here. But for now, and like I said, like I'm not gonna get too crazy into the skinning. Again, like this video is just to kind of give like a really sloppy overview. Because again, it's not a lot of time to be had these days. All right, so FK transform. I like to use the FK transform to just initialize the rig. All right, so now here's my rig. So I have my Apex network view open down here. And one of the really nice things that they've added with Apex is this visualizer down here. So now you can really visualize your rig. You can visualize the component script, which is really helpful. And another really cool thing is it has this really nice search function. If you hit Control F, it opens up this find node. So now, like, you know, say like you have like 1,000 nodes or something, and you need to just find, you know, say the R ankle. Boom, there's the R ankle, right? So yeah, that's pretty nice. Okay, in this case, I don't want to promote anything. Okay, I just want to get things rolling here. So I'm going to start off with my IK. So if I throw down this new multi-IK, I think it's one of my favorite additions, because I was really pining a lot about how you can't do multi, like you can only do like 2 joint IKs or like a single joint IK, right? So like just like a bipedal character, like you couldn't have like a dog or anything. This takes care of that, right? It does a really, really good job. So, all right. So now the first thing we're going to really check out here is this new attribute adjust array node. And this makes it super easy. And it's really frustrating. If you don't get it within a chain, it throws up all these errors, right? So, but whatever. But this makes it super easy to add tags to your character and to your joints. So we're going to add this to the guides, right? We're not going to add this to the skeleton. We're not going to touch this. Okay? I'm going to mark that as black. This is not to be touched. We're only going to do everything to our guide skeleton. And you notice down here within the initialize or the FK transform, the source is set to guides. So if I set that to the base, we're grabbing this base scale here, right? So you want to, if we're going to be working with the guides, you want to initialize the guide skeleton. And of course, you know, you can say, you know, if you just want like a quick little FK skeleton, you can just put a star here so that you go through all your joints and grab the ones that you want. And so now, you know, you can move everything around, right? But in this case, I'm going to leave this off so I don't get confused with what I'm doing. Let's rename this. I'm going to rename that to IK. All right. So if we jump through here, we have this segments and we have this driven, right? And so it's kind of cool because all you really need to do is just set some tags and everything works automatically. So if you look at this segments here, right? It has the star leg. And I'm actually going to change this to a lowercase. So lowercase leg. And basically the magic all happens between the segments and how you set up your tags. So within the attribute adjust array, I'm going to change the attribute class to point. So now we can actually go in and start adding some tags. So first tags I'm going to add is you select your joints, you press A, and then you can just add some tags. So this is going to be R leg, and this is going to be L leg underscore leg. Cool. So let's jump down the IK, and magically everything works. Look at that. So now we have IK in our legs. That was pretty quick. Okay, why don't we set up our arms as well? So this is going to be legs. All right, let's put down another skeleton. And let's jump to the front view. I want to be in create mode. And we're going to go shoulder, boom, boom. Let's get the top view. And all right, tweak mode, create, or modify rather. Okay, cool. And this is one of these DAS models, so everything is pretty straight. So it's a little bit easier to get like proper orientations and that kind of thing. All right, so I'm going to get out. Well, I'm going to stay in modify, but I'm going to get out of tweak mode so I don't move anything. So I'm going to hit R shoulder, R, and remember to press L to press enter when you change something. Because if you just make a change and then click out of it, it doesn't actually register. You need to press enter. Okay. Cool. So I had this. Let's put down an orient joints. And I wonder why this isn't showing up in my rig tree. It should. All right, let's get the up vector into the Y. Okay. And we'll put down a skeleton mirror. I'm just going to grab the same settings as that. And we'll take both of these and I'll merge these together. Okay, so we have our arm skeleton, right? And we have our legs. We can make some notes if we want. All right, let's go medium. I'm going to hide the background, make that white. And arms. All right. It's good to stay organized. I try to stay organized whenever I can. All right, cool. So now if we want to set up our arm IK, same process as before. So select all these, hit A, R, arm. Select all these, hit A, and we're going to do L, arm. So now we just jump down to our IK node, and the system is smart enough to actually just go through all the different segments, right, to all the different sections and look for these 3 joints. That'll create the IK, or however many joints it may be, whether it's 6 joints or 7 joints or whatever. Everything that has this segment tag, right, will show up. So I'm going to put star, right, to pick up the L or the R, and then do arm, and now I have IK on my arm. Arms. Cool, and here's the rig so far. Here we go. So here's our multi-IK, multi-bone IK. That's what it looks like. Take a look. Very nice. Cool. So now that's all set up. So why don't we set up our spine? So let's move these to the side. So again, we're just going component by component. And I mean, there's a million different ways we can set up the spine here. I like doing it in a particular way with add. But just like by just adding points, right? You know, you definitely do not have to do it this way. I just kind of like doing it this way because, you know, Houdini is just fun to, you know, do things over, just to kind of overcomplicate things. I really enjoy overcomplicating things in this program. But in a weird way, it's like it kind of overcomplicates things, but then it adds, you know, a further bit of flexibility. Okay, cool. All right, let's put down an add. another add. Actually, no, I don't need another add. I think if I just do by group, there we go. So now I created a line here. I'm going to do a resample. And now I can say, I can change the resample to maximum segments, and I can put down 3. I think it's 3, and that gives me 4. Yeah. So if I put down 3, I now have 4 joints. But I think what I'm going to do is actually take this. Whoopsie. Hang on. Let me find the right way to. So E, template that. Let's actually put this down to about here because the chest doesn't really deform very much, right? So we'll put that to about there. Unless you want like a little flexible chest. Whatever. Yeah, let's give her a flexible chest. We'll move that up. Okay, so we have that. I'm going to put down an attribute wrangle, and I just want to go through and rename each of these joints. Right? So we have 3. Oh, it's going the wrong direction. Okay, so I'm going to do a sort because I want the 0 on the bottom, right? And I'm just going to do a reverse point sort. So now we have this. So 0, 1, 2, 3. Let's do a rig doctor. So now we initialize transforms. And I just want to check something really quick. I want to make sure that everything is working properly. So I'm going to put down a rig pose. Yeah, see, it's not working. Darn. Let me think. So if I do the sort, do the resample. Okay, maybe we could take the sort and put this here. Resample. No, it's still not working. Yeah, because we're still getting the hierarchy going from up there. All right, whatever. See, this is what happens when you overcomplicate things. We'll move this down, and we'll take 1, and we'll move that up. There. You happy? So now this should work. There we go. Okay. Yeah, basically I just wanted to make sure that the 0 point was the root and that it moves up the chain and not down the chain. There we go. Okay, this should be good. All right, initialize transforms. Everything is looking okay. And then I want to say name, and we're going to call this spine underscore plus itoa. And what this does is it converts a integer number into a string. So we're basically grabbing each point number and putting it into a string, and we just add that number to spine, right? So now all of our joints are spine 0, spine 1, spine 2, spine 3. Okay. Now what we can do is, why don't we take these, we'll move these over. Whoops. Okay, let's grab this, and I'm going to call this spine. We can merge that into here, and we can put down a parent joints, and let's parent these. So we'll go from spine 0 to the R and L hips. Okay. Now, okay, so the spine isn't set up yet. So let's do that first. All right, and in this case, I'm going to use the newer spline auto rig component. And in this case, we're going to do some more tagging here. So I'm going to grab all of these, and I'm going to call this spine. Okay, and I'm going to want the spine tip and the spine root. So let's jump down here. I'm going to rename this component to spine. All right. Let's see. All right. So yeah, we're getting a bunch of controls all over the place. So let's see. We don't want spline. We want spine. And the segments is going to be spine. Okay, let's see. So we have these. Spine. Let's call that spine rig so we're not overriding the thing there. So the driven. And I think we want bind. There we go. Okay, yeah, that worked. Yeah, what we needed to do, I suppose, was get rid of the segments here and just put that into the driven, because we're not using multiple segments in this case, right? We're only just using one, just one segment. So we didn't really need to fill that out. What was important is that we filled this out, and then that automatically creates our spline. So let's see, a few things here. I don't want that. I want, let me see if I turn these off. All right, let's let me think. So root to parent control. Okay. Yeah, let's do this first. So before we do anything, right, I'm going to, well, I just did a whole bunch of stuff, but let's pretend like we did nothing there. I'm going to set up local, global, and cog controls. And I'm going to do that using a transform driver. Okay. So we're going to want, well, first let's make our global. Okay. And we're going to say, I'm going to turn that off. Let's see. Yeah, okay, let's just do this. We'll make a global, we're gonna make the control, and we're gonna call this, we're gonna make this a circle wires. Yeah, I told you this was gonna be pretty messy. All right, there we go. Here, let me put this over here so I can see how long this recording is becoming. 23 minutes, not bad. All right, so we created our global. Let's make another one, local. And let me see, I think what we're gonna wanna do is, because the order of operations here is important, right? Because you know, I want the local to be controlled by the global. So if I put local there into the driven transforms, right now our local is being driven by our global. Okay, so you might have, I didn't really say what I did here, but I promoted the T and promoted the R. And in this case, in the global, I'm going to want to promote the scale as well, because what's nice about having a nice global control is that you can scale your model when you import it. Okay, so let's create one more, and that's going to be the cog, right? The center of gravity control. So we're going to do translation rotation, and I'm going to want to make a box wires. All right, but we want to get it onto the hips, right? So the driver, we're going to use the driver guide, and we're going to grab that spine 0. And that's going to snap it to there, which is super cool. So now we have our local, our global, and our center of gravity. And I'm actually going to make this a circle wires as well. Let's do this. And I'll rotate it 90. Cool. And within our local, we want the driven transformations to be the cog. And I'm going to say ignore offset. Let me see. Maybe, let me think. Wait, did I do that wrong? No, I don't think I did. Let me see. I'm not exactly sure why that happened. Okay, you know what we're going to do? All right, screw the transform driver. I'm going to show you guys something really cool. We're going to make a component script here. And this is like one of my favorite additions to Apex. And I'm going to show you how it works. All right. So we're going to make a component script. So in order to make a component script, you need an input and an output. You need to extract the character graph, and you need to update the character graph. Okay. We do character to character, graph name. I'm going to call this rig name, character, graph name, graph, character out. Okay, so we output the character. And then we'll put this on the second input. No errors. That means it's working. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pin this. And I'm going to open up two windows here. And I'm going to have this be my graph so I can actually see what's going on here. All right, so I'm going to use this really new cool thing that they added called a find or add guide. And this is a great, just awesome tool, because what this allows is for you to add basically just like to add controls to your guide skeleton. And you can also, what's great about this is that you can add or subtract controls, you can change parenting, but you don't have to worry about how things are affected in terms of like parent-child relationships. Because typically when you parent something in Apex or any other program, it inherits the parent's translation rotation. It inherits the parent's matrix, right? So it can shift things around. But what this does is that you can add, subtract, or change your parenting around to certain controls, and just through a whole bunch of magic. I'm not going to get into it and exactly how it works, but it solves a lot of problems. It solves all those problems in terms of like inheriting parent-child relationships. So it just makes things a lot easier. There's a bit of setup to get this going. So let's go ahead and do that. So what we need to do is we need to find our guide skeleton, find the packed geo. So we're going to get our character, put this into here, and we want the guides, right? That skeleton that we packed up here. So the embedded is our geometry. That's going to go into the geo here. All right, so that's saved. Okay, cool. So a few other things. So we need to update. Let me see. We need to update character element. So now we need to update this character element when things change. The geo goes into the element that we're working with, and again, the prim path needs to be filled out, and that's our guides. All right, let's make this big again. And then this goes into character. And the last thing we need to do in order for this to work is we need to say controls from guides. Okay, so I'm going to put down a null graph so I can kind of stay just a little bit organized here. That's going to go into the graph. This is going to go into the geo. And as a matter of fact, I think we want this here. So the geo output from this goes into the update character element. And then the controls from guides, the graph goes into the graph. So that's our base setup here. And once I get this a name, it should, and then also when I promote these two controls, I now have our cog control directly into here. Okay, let's make it a bit bigger. We can do, we can set what kind of shape we want. We can set the shape color. And what's really great about this, like what I just really, really love, is that we have direct access to all of our joints and all of our joint transformations. So it looks a lot like working within like a rig VOP or something like that. It really opens up a ton of possibilities and flexibility. So let's see, we're going to add the cog. So what I mean by that is that if I wanted to get the, get a point transform, I can grab my geo, and in this case, I want spine 0. Okay. So spine 0, and boom. So it's kind of the same way we set things up within the local global cog thing. That wasn't really working. And I actually really like setting things up this way instead. I don't know, call me a masochist, but yeah, I really enjoy using the guide notes. So we're going to do this sequentially. Okay, so we're going to add the global, and then we're going to add the local. All right, let me give these some names. Global, local. All right, so we're going to go from the embedded. It's going to go here. Geo. Okay, let's clean these up a bit. All right, so we have our local, or we have our global, local, and cog. So let's, so in our global, we're going to do TRS in terms of the values, channels that we want to promote. The shape, which we had before, was circle wires. And let's make this nice and big. We'll rotate that 90 degrees and make it just a bit bigger. Cool. And for the local, I just want the translate rotation, shape circle wires again. And we'll make that yellow. And, of course you can style this any way you want. I'm just doing it this way so we can kind of see how this is all working. All right. So I have my controls, but now I don't have any, parent-child relationship. So if I take this name here, this output name of our global, and I put this into the parent, so the parent input here is looking for a string. So this is why I did this sequentially, because now I can just take the output name of this, plug this into the parent of our local control, and now we have that. I can take this name output of our local and plug this into the parent of our cog, and now we have that. So now everything is working just as we needed it to. Isn't that great? So yeah, these things don't sleep on these finer ag guide things. I mean, these are so awesome. And they really, make rigging in this like much easier. Okay, so now we have our spine. Okay, and now that we have our spine, we can actually start setting some parents here, right? Because now we have our cog control in there. And if I take my cog control, now we move around the entire spine. Isn't that cool? And if I get rid of this tip parent, now our we're going to want our cog to be the parent of our tip parent, right? Because what that gives us is that if I go to this root control, now I can move this around without affecting the top part. So now I can like get like some nice hippie movement. So if I jump down here where my IK is established, you know, see, now I get something like this. So I can now do some sexy shimmying. Cool, huh? So we're just moving right along here. Let's see. So cog. I'm going to call this like main ctrls. All right. Very nice. So we're missing some more joints here. Let's see. I wonder if I should add some finger controls. Let's do the clavicles first. Okay, so the clavicles are going to be within the arms here. So I'm going to put down another add. Okay, you can go ahead and hate me for doing this, but like I said, I like doing it this way. So the clavicle, I like to keep the clavicle sort of in the middle of her chest, right? It doesn't make much sense to have it out towards the clavicle, because a lot of the rotations happen inside, right? It happens, you know, within the scapula and the clavicle over here. So it doesn't make sense to have the pivot point there. I find I get better deformations or more realistic deformations if the pivot point is kind of like sort of in the center of her mass here instead of putting it like right on the tip of the clavicle. So I'm going to leave that there. Let's name this. And we're going to name this R clavicle. Let's make sure that's a point. We'll do rig, doctor, and initialize transforms. Okay, so now we have our clavicle. And let's do this. Let's parent these first, then do that. So what are we missing? This is the CD scale inheritance. That's fine. So we'll parent the joints. Okay. And we're just going to go boom, boom. All right. And then when we mirror our skeleton, we get this. So boom, boom. So now we have our clavicles in there. L clavicle, R clavicle. And I hope you're noticing how awesome this is. Like, you know, just the fact that we can, you know, just slowly build up our rig, but at the same time, we're building up our skeleton. So if I go here, here's the actual bind skeleton that I'm going to be using. So, you know, we're just building things up bit by bit, and it's just such an awesome way of working. Okay, so we have that in there. Now we'll go to this final parent joints here, and we'll parent these to the spine. One other thing I want to do is I want to have access to these clavicle joints as FK joints, right? Because if I go to my initialization, nothing is there, right? I don't have any access to those clavicles. So I'm going to add a new tag. I'm going to select both of these, hit A, type in FK, go to my initialization node or my FK transform auto rig component, and put in the FK tag. So now I have access to my clavicle joints. And if I jump down to my IK, boom, now I have my clavicle. Very nice. And yeah, our rig is really coming along, huh? All right, last thing we can do is we can add in our neck. Oh, not necessarily the last thing. I mean, there's plenty more we can do here. And I should also get some fingers in here. I mean, the fingers are simple enough, really. It's just kind of a pain in the butt to draw out all the joints. Yeah, we'll see if we can figure out a cool way to do that. So let's see. Let's do this a different way. Let's make a line. Okay. And we'll move this up to about the base of the neck. Uh-oh. Dang it. Oh, shit. All right, back in it. Yeah, I pressed a button that typically makes this program crash. Like when you go full screen on this, if you press what is it, like Alt 1, and that changes the view. Houdini typically doesn't do very well. So okay, here we are. So let's start again. Yeah, I'm just gonna do the whole add thing again. So okay, let's see. This is gonna be number 1. And we'll move this up to our neck here. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that this is our 0 point, right? So if I add another point, and that's 0.1. Okay, so now our hierarchy is going to be good. Okay. Cool. That looks pretty good. All right. Let's go by group. And, oh, yeah, it's already set. I'm sitting here wondering if it's working, and it's working. Okay, so we could just take this whole setup, copy and paste it. And in this case, we're just going to do neck. All right, so that should be okay. It doesn't need to get too crazy. In this case, I'm just going to have the neck act as FK. All right. So let's go here to this parent joints. I had that right, doctor, right? Yeah. Let's go to this parent joints, and we'll just parent it down to spine 3. And let me see. I'm going to want another head joint, actually. So what I can do, I'm gonna split off the final joint here. What is it? Neck 3. Neck 3, right? And this is going to be points, right? Is that what it's called? Oh no, I didn't even name it yet. There we go. All right, so I have that here. We're just gonna rename it. And this is gonna be head instead. Okay, and let's merge these two. So now I've created my little head joint, right? By splitting it and just renaming it. So now if I jump up to here, I have neck and head. And if I just do another parent joints, I can just take the head and just parent it into neck 3. There. So we'll cut that and we'll do that instead. So we'll call this neck head. All right, this is looking pretty good. Let's move that down. And so that's our geo right there. So we got legs, arms, spine, neck, head. Cool. All right, so with our neck, what we're going to do is, let's get rid of our numbers. I'm just going to do the same thing as the clavicles here. And press A, make an FK tag, and boom. Now we have neck. And the head as well, which is nice. Okay. Now we can work on adding the fingers. And unless you really want to watch this might be just a bit tedious, but let's go for it. All right. Let's draw out the index first. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I'm not going to, yeah, that always happens. Yeah, if we actually do it on view based, that actually could work pretty good. So, okay, yeah, let's just do it this way. And then let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. Mm, 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 mm. And okay. Hang on. Yeah, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make separate skeletons because I think it'll make it just a bit easier to rename these. Because I don't want to have to go through. I want to rename these procedurally, and I don't want to have to go in and rename each joint individually. So let's go create. I mean, I'm kind of making this up as I go along, people. You know, this, like I said, I did not plan this out. Maybe a little bit, but you know, if this is pretty messy, that's because life is messy. All right, let's do one more. Oh no, we need 2 more, right? Because this is going to be the pinky. So we're going to do create. Oopsie. Let's get out of tweak mode. So boom, 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 boom. It's pretty jacked up. Modify tweak. Let's get that in there. All right, and since we were in this mode, more or less things are in the center, but not the end point. So let's go in, and I'm going to go to modify, tweak mode, and just go freehand. Okay, and just pull these just in the center. I'm not going to make these perfect. I'm just going to make them good enough just so we kind of get an idea of what we're doing. Pull that down. Let's go to the next one. I mean, even in Houdini, in a program like Houdini, things can get tedious, but that's okay. All right, let's do one more. This is going to be our thumb. All right, so we want to go back to view-based. We want F for create. And we're going to go here. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. And that looks pretty good. All right, so now we have our hand. Okay, so I'm going to make an attribute wrangle. And let's see. So this is going to be the middle finger, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a string, call it string S. And I'm going to make a channel string. And I'm going to say name. And, okay, so now we have that. And then I'm going to do my little name equals S plus ITOA. All right, and then we're going to say point number. So now when I fill this out, I'm going to say this is index. Okay. So I'm going to do a plus because I want an underscore in there. So I'm just going to get an underscore plus. And I'm going to do one more of these. And I'm going to say side. Okay. And then say side. And we're going to say this is the right side, right? So we're going to say side plus. And let's actually get that underscore in there. Boom. So R index. Okay. Cool. So now I just need to copy this and just change the name up here. And it'll automatically just go in and change all the naming there. So this is going to be ring. Oopsie. That's save. And this is going to be pinky. Is that how you spell pinky? And then thumb. Cool. And now I have index, middle, ring, pinky, thumb. Cool. All right, so we have our hand. And, there's, again, a million ways to do this, people. This is just the way that I did it. All right, I'm going to check my orientations on these. They should be okay. So if I go to node information and turn on the transform, they look decent. Once I set up my FK, I think I'll get a better idea. I think it looks all right. All right, let's go back to node information. Let's turn that off. Okay, now we can take these, put them together. And, let's actually take our skeleton mirror and let's put this down here. All right, but first we need to parent all of those into there. So we have all of this, and I can just do it this way. Okay. Just do it manually. There's other ways you can do it procedurally, but we're just going to do it manually in this case. And skeleton mirror, and now we have our hands. Very nice. Okay, so we're going to take this thread here. We're going to put that into this skeleton mirror. So now, if we go down to null, we have basically our entire rig mostly set up. Okay, let's init. I'm going to go to the attribute adjust array, and we're going to grab all of our fingers because we want these to be part of our FK group. So let's just put an FK tag on all of those, and now we have our fingers. And not that many nodes. We have like almost a completely functional rig here. What's going on? Let me see. The IK got messed up. Why did that get flipped? Let me see. Oh boy, I was afraid of this happening. Why did that get flipped? Let me see. Level tip. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I don't know why that got flipped. But if you level the tip, what that does is it zeroes everything out. Okay? Maybe if I put, let me get rid of this orient joints. It could have something to do with that. Let me see. Because maybe I want my my guy to look like that. So let's go down here. Let's put down an orient joints after the skeleton mirror. We'll make sure that we're using our up like that. And let's go back to the IK. No, it's still messed up. Damn it. That is kind of whack. Actually, I wonder if, okay, so we need to set our parents, right? Because we haven't done this yet, because we want the local to control all of our IK. So we want the local to control that, and the root parent, well, that looks good already. Yeah. And the pole vector parent is automatically just set to, like if you don't want the pole vector to follow the IK around, you can set the pole vector to the local as well. So now the pole vectors will just stay, because it gets it's a little weird to have the pole vector follow the rotations of the IK. It can kind of get a little strange, but I mean, it works pretty well. So why don't we just actually just leave that there? Yeah, this is a bummer. I don't know why it's being flipped like this. Let me see. What did I just do? So that was use goal rotation. Maybe use twist. No. Is it straight? Level pull vector. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna have to do level the tip on this case. But then that flips down here. Yeah, there's a lot of problems with this. You know, if I'm just pulling things in, I don't think this should happen. Will or anybody watching this from side effects help me out here? Let me see. Maybe I need to. I'm going to put down a compute transform. This world. Let me see. Nope, still nothing. That is a bummer. Because the legs are working. So, yeah, I don't know. All right, well, what we can do, now that we got that, is we can set up our FK, IK. And, man, super bummer. Okay. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have two IKs here. Let me see if I can get this to work. If I just do the L arm, what happens? Segments, L arm. Is that named correctly? Yeah, L. Oh, right. It's uppercase L arm. Yeah, it's still flipping. I really don't know. I don't know. It shouldn't do that. It should not. It should just work. Okay. So let's just, we'll do one IK for the arms where we level the tip, which is unfortunate because now this isn't matched to the orientation of our hand. But what we can do is we can do another IK or another multi-IK, and we'll do this for the legs. Okay. We'll say star leg, and now our leg IK is set up. So yeah, unfortunate. I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong or if it's something that, just, shouldn't happen. But yeah, it is what it is. Still in beta, people, but still pretty awesome. All right, let's call this IK arm, IK leg. All right, and I think we're kind of nearing the end here. I'm going to try to do the reverse foot. I had trouble hooking up the reverse foot because, again, we were having this mirroring issue where things were being flipped. But I did kind of come up with a solution that, unfortunately, you're not going to have access to because I actually had to build my own tool in order to get around it. But let's see if we can fix that. But before we do that, let's go ahead and set up our IKFK. And let's see, where is it? Where is it? IKFK blend, and voila. Isn't that awesome? It gets set up automatically. Wow. So, okay. Yeah, so now we have that. Isn't that crazy? And if you had your, and the reason it's working is because it works right off the bat is just because of the segments that I have set up, right? Like if I were to get rid of that, it no longer works. So, or at least we just want the same segments that we have before. And it automatically creates an FK suffix or prefix. So now, if I jump over to here, let's see. Yeah, so here are the here's one of these nodes, these transform objects that were created. So now we have our FK wrists. And if we want to see what that looks like, we can take this, which is our abstract control. And we'll set that to 1. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I think I might know what's going on here. All right. So if we go here, that's working. And if we see this, holy smokes. So my guess, I'll bet you it's the clavicle. I wonder. Let's see. So we do our mirror. I mean, why is it doing that? That is insane. Okay, let's try to do the orient first, and then we'll do the mirror. What do we get? Boy, oh boy. I mean, my guess is that it's is it scaling out the? Yeah, that should not be happening, people. Maybe, okay. All right. If I go here and I go mirroring style by rotation. Let's see if that works. And yeah, that worked. Okay. All right. Yeah. So within the skeleton mirror, we had the mirroring style was set to by scale. So I wonder if I go to my RK arm and I turn this off. Yay, it works. Awesome. All right. So we definitely both learned something today. That when you do your skeleton mirror, you want to do it by rotation. So that means we're going to want to do this by rotation as well. That's super duper. Okay. So now we have our FK, IK all set up. So in that case, maybe I can actually get this to work. Let's do our reverse foot. All right, so reverse foot. We're going to want to set up a whole bunch of tags here. Okay, so let's jump back up to our probably the most important node in this whole setup here, which is our attribute adjust array. And let's see. So we want 2 segments for our foot, right? This is, let me see. So this is FK, IK. This is going to be rev foot. So we're going to want 2 segments for our foot, but then the ankle, ball, and toe can all be, we don't need to, those can be named or tagged in the same way. So let's grab these 3 and we'll do lowercase foot. So L foot, and then we'll do R foot. Okay. Now let's add some tags to these. Wait, hang on, not just yet. I want to select both of these. Whoopsie. Okay. We're going to say ankle. This is going to be, I think this one was ball. And then this is going to be our toe. All right, cross your fingers. Cool. All right, so it's looking pretty good. Let's see. So reverse foot's looking all right. Let me see, is everything, yeah, everything's looking pretty good. All right, and the reason that worked was because we set everything up automatically. Let me get the toe tag in here. Burp. All right, let me see. Okay, so let me try and do this. This is where I was having trouble last time. So you're supposed to mirror this, right? And in this case, I guess this is the one that's working. So I think we want to set our mirror tag over here, because if you go to the settings and you have this mirror offset, if you hover over this, it says the mirror offset is a rotation value. Blah, blah, blah. So we need to add a tag, which it says, in there, it says somewhere in there. Mirror tag is needed on the foot joints in order for the mirror offset to take effect. So in this case, I want to mirror the right side, right? So I'm going to see if this works. So I'm going to mirror that. We'll go to reverse foot. And oh, would you look at that? Yes. All right. And fantastic. Okay. Let's go, people. We are kicking ass here. And then we have the football. That is great. All right, so now let's look at these. So we have tilt A, tilt B. So now we can, yes, awesome. So our mirroring is working. So that means we can go in and just kind of adjust these settings over here. All right, let's get tilt B to go onto the side here. So let's, they shouldn't be moving up like that. So we're going to go 0 and 0. And we're going to want to move these in the X. So we're going to say, yeah, so these aren't mirrored. Yeah, that's annoying. Annoying. All right, but you know what we can do? I suppose we can do it like that. Just a bit jank. Just a bit janky. All right, that's okay. But yeah, the translations here on the tilt offset A and B aren't mirrored, which is, unfortunate. These should be mirrored as well. But what are you gonna do? But cool. Okay, and let me think. So do we have? Yeah, and the IK is set up correctly. Because what it does is it basically, and okay, so if I jump back to this IK leg, right? It says here IK driven and tag IK tip. And when, all of this kind of just works in conjunction with each other. That's how all this works. So as long as you don't go in and change things, the IK tip tag is automatically added to that leg IK, right? So we just create the leg IK, and then when you create the reverse foot, it automatically, this is already in there, right? If I were to delete that, all of a sudden we have two controls here. So let's get that back. But it's automatically finding that IK control and overriding it. So cool. Now we have reverse foot. Super awesome. Yay, it worked. I'm excited about that. Okay, so now we have our FK, IK. So now we just need to do some styling to our rig here. All right. So what we can do, let's do it this way. Yeah, I really don't like these joints here. So let me see, settings. Okay, so we can kind of move these to the back, which I'm going to do just to kind of get them out of the way and make them smaller. All right, so these are our abstract controls for, changing the FK, IK. And, of course, you can do this any way you want. All right. So let's do a configure controls. So let's start with our FK first. So when we put down our configure controls, right, this is going to essentially be the styling of our controls here. We're going to grab our base rig. And how are we doing? 1 hour and 11 minutes. That's not bad. And we've basically finished our rig. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but this feels pretty much done to me. Just kidding. There's so much more we can do. Okay, so we're going to grab these FK. So basically everything that ends in FK, right? Star FK. And for FK, I like using the circle wires. Okay, the size actually looks pretty good. So I'm just going to leave that the way it is. Let's see. We'll do our clavicles. Wait, it's just clavicle. And we're going to use a box. All right. We'll scale that up. And we'll move it out in the derp. All right, that's not going to work. All right, whatever. We'll just move it. We'll just keep it like that. All right. And let me see. I'm going to try to, I kind of like making them sort of wide. Yeah, this is the fun part. Because now, like, the rig is more or less done. Okay, I'm going to leave the spine as it is. And my IK, so the IK targets. So, okay, let's do the IKs. So I want to do star IK target. And then I'm going to do, I think it's going to be ankle. Let me see, because I don't want to grab this one. Yeah, it's just uppercase ankle. Let's do this. IK. Because I want to change the shape of all my IK joints here. So I'm going to make this into a box, or IK controls rather. Scale that up. Because it's good to, I think the joints that you move, right, that you translate, not just rotate, but you actually translate, it's good to have them be solid shapes. I figure that I like making them solid shapes because they're easier to grab. Okay, yeah, that happened again. So this tends to happen, side effects, I don't know why. The whole parameters thing here. I press P, that happens. Maybe if I do this. Yeah, see? So now I can't get in my Apex parameters. So please, another little bug here. And let me make sure. Yeah, so I have those. Oh, that's the arcade target. So let's make sure we're only grabbing the arms because I don't want to bring those back. And foot ankle. Let me see. There we go. Okay. But yeah, okay, there we go. So things are working. Let's get our head and neck. So we're going to do star, neck, and head. Let's do a torso. Kind of switch things up a bit. This is neck star. Okay. Shape offset. Let's make that small. Okay. And these pole vectors, I kind of like making them spheres. So that is what IK pole vec star IK pole vec. Yeah, and I'm showing you this part because there's kind of like a cool way to quickly style everything. In terms of color, right? Because it's important to kind of have like your colors be different. All right, and that's looking pretty. Oh yeah, I want to do the fingers too. So let me see. I want to go back up here and I'm going to add a new tag for all of my fingers. All right, sometimes hovering doesn't work. Tends to work like if you kind of change the view. There we go. There's A. Fingers. Jump back down here. And let's do tag finger. So now we're looking at everything that has the finger tag. Use shape override. And where was it? It's the line. I think it's line B or something. Ball line wires. No, that's not it. Line B. This is it. Yeah, I kind of like this one for the fingers. You know, it just makes them, kind of makes them like a little bit easier to grab, right? Boom. Pretty cool. And then, you know, we have our thumb. I think the rotations, yeah, rotations are looking good on the thumb. Okay. All right, that's looking pretty good. So this is going to be, I'm going to call this control shape. All right. And so we have all of our controls. Everything is working pretty good. We have, that's not working. Right, because in our reverse foot, we have to set the driver to be the local. Don't mess up. Yay, it worked. Okay. All right, there we go. And we have scaling. Everything's working just great. Okay, so we have all that. Now I'm going to put down another configure controls because I'm going to try setting the color here. And there's a little trick that you can do. So I'm just going to set star, and let's see if this works. I'm just going to make everything yellow for now. No, we don't want shape override. Okay, so everything yellow. And now everything that has an L or an R, right? Okay. So I'm going to make one more. I'm going to do L star and L star, right? So L and then capital L star. And we're going to make another, maybe this needs to go below this. Let me see. So L star, L star. There we go. Yeah, it needs to go below. So you first set the color of everything, and then you can go through and change the colors of each side, right? So the left, I typically make it red. Let's do one more. R star, uppercase R star, right? Because some of these aren't named, you know, some has a lowercase name. And so this is, again, a quick way to change the color of the sides of your rig. On the right, I typically make it blue. Very, very nice. So this is essentially our rig, guys. This is it. How awesome is that? Right, because we're getting our local. That's funny. Whatever, I'll leave the local red. All right, so now that we're here, why don't we just do a quick bind, okay? And just see how this looks. All right, so let's do a joint capture by harmonic. And I'm not going to go crazy here. I promised myself I wasn't going to go crazy here. But yeah, we have our capture by harmonic. And let's put this into here. Base shape, right? So now we have that base shape. And right after the initialization, because I typically like to do this right after the initialization, I'm going to put down a bone deform. All right. And this is going to be bone deform. And boom, there's our lady. So obviously there's a lot to be done. In terms of skinning, I'll have to make, probably another video on some skinning techniques and whatnot. But if we jump all the way down and go to configure controls, we now have a pretty solid rig, people. And not that much time either. So I mean, there's some things that we're missing, obviously, like twist joints, and the likes. But I mean, in terms of getting a rig together, this is essentially how you do it. We have our reverse foot, right? It's looking pretty good. And what's happening here is the reason it's twisting like that is because the pole vector is moving along with that IK. So you can take your pole vector and move it out so that you don't really get that twist, right? And I think with the legs, actually, why don't we go into the leg, and I'm going to, first we need to, so this is the leg, right? IK leg. So we want that to be the local, and then we're going to make the pole vector parent. That's going to be onto the local as well. So now it's the pole vectors aren't going to follow the leg. You see? So now that's a little bit more predictable. But that also means, we'll have to take our pole vector and move it out. But yeah, everything is pretty much set up. We have our FKIK, right? That's all set up. All right, there's a few things we'd have to do to really, like for instance, we want to bring back the football control, but that's a bit of a struggle to get that. So I mean, we're already an hour and 22 minutes into this, so I think we could just call it quits, because this was a general overview of a lot of the newer components and basically just how to get all this running and working. We ran into a couple of problems, but then we figured them out together, which was great. Again, that was just the orient. When you're doing your skeleton mirror, make sure you're doing it by rotation and not scale, because that was causing all that trouble. Let's see, how's our spine doing? Cool. And we have our root here. Okay. Yeah, now we can do our sexy. Awesome. Very nice. And I mean, again, though, so now we have our rig all set up and everything. And what if we don't like the way the chest is conforming, right? This is what's great about this or just one of the many things. If I were to go back up to this add and pull her back so we can see what we're doing, and just move that down, right? If I jump all the way down here, everything just gets updated automatically, right? So, yeah, there we go. And again, we can, let's do one more thing. There's always more to do. I'm going to put down one more, and there's still other stuff to look at, to look at and map constraints and whatnot. But we're going to leave it at this. I'm just going to do one more thing. I'm going to put down a delta mush. And the delta mush is pretty nice. It basically just softens up the rotations, or I'm sorry, not the rotations, the skinning. Right? So if we look at our delta mush here, we see what it looks like. And then if we go here, you can see that it has it's just like a bit softer. So it's good. It's good for just kind of cleaning up your skinning a little bit. Maybe you don't want to have it on too thick. Why'd that turn white? But yeah. All right, there we go, people. There's a full rig. within Houdini using Apex in about an hour. And I hope you learned something from this. I know that it was a little slapdash and just kind of weird and crazy. We ran into some problems, but like I said, just been busy. But yeah, I hope you guys learned something from this. I sure did. And yeah, as always, thanks for watching.